So we do like IRENCAST assemble. Sorry, this is a nerdy ass joke. Hello, long time no here. I'm Jeff, in case you forgot.
I'm Casey.
I'm Bonnie.
And this is Rajeev.
And we are IRENCAST.
We are.
We are. It has been a while, a little longer than we said it was going to be for so many reasons, which we'll get into a little bit here today. But we are back-ish. A lot of things have changed, and a lot of things will change in the show going forward. But the plan is to continue going forward and providing some episodes. We literally just met all together 2 days ago, and we're kind of like, hey, let's get the band back together because we're headed into a very, I don't know, interesting is probably the nice way to put it, but scary time in our country, and especially for those of us that are of progressive mindset with the election coming up and all that kind of stuff. So we figured we got to put some stuff out there. We got to have some conversations.
Stuff to talk about.
Exactly. So here we are. It's not going to be the same, and we'll get into some of those things as we go forward. But then a lot of things will be the same. Before we get into all that and the future of the show, let's update everyone on how we're doing, where we've been, what the heck, what the heck happened. Who wants to go first? Everyone's pointing at each other, just so everyone listening. This is an visual.
You want me to go first?
Sure.
Or were you ready?
No, go.
So last time we spoke, I was pastoring at Parkside Community Church in Sacramento, California. And just through a series of things and, personal journey, I decided I really wanted to be back in a classroom teaching. Started my adult career as a teacher, a classroom teacher in elementary school, and did some high school and went into nonprofit and ministry, and this podcast thing happened. And so now I teach fourth grade in a Sacramento public school and love it. I miss ministry. I miss the people in the community. And by rules, I have to stay away for a while, which is tough, but I love what I'm doing. There's just a lot of hope and joy every day that I get to encounter. So when we had our little get together over a meal and kind of gingerly broached the idea of, what do you guys think about doing this thing again? And everyone was like, yeah, let's figure it out. So I'm super excited, like literally to sit here and look across at each of us, with each of you with mics in front of you. And I don't know, it just feels really beautiful and special. And I'm excited to see what unfolds.
I guess I could go next, even though mine's going to sound a little bit like a repeat of what Rajeev just said. In 2021, October of 2021, which I think is before our last episode aired, I also decided to go back into the classroom. At that time, Rajeev and I were co-pastoring at Parkside Community Church, and we had more or less carried the congregation, the community through the pandemic. We were starting to open back up again, and there was just such a huge teacher shortage. I don't know, the tug from deep within my heart just pulled and pulled. And I have this California State teaching credential, which I needed when I first graduated from college, because that was also my first career. And I'd been sitting on it, renewing it, and decided, okay, let me just see if there's even an opportunity. And it was like a week. I started like subbing at first, and then somebody said, hey, we have this third grade classroom. It's 2 miles down the street from your house. Would you please just take it? And I've been at that same school now. I'm just finished my third year, and the last 2 years were in kindergarten. And I'm looking forward to teaching another kindergarten class next year. So excited about, doing, it's not ministry at all. It's a public school classroom where all faiths are in the same room and are honored, and secularism is the rule of the day. However, there are ways that I get to engage with the spirit, the humanity of my children and their parents that feels a little bit connected to the work that I was doing even in ministry. So I'm grateful for that. And yeah, I'm still working on process theology things, still excited about, wondering about this election season, this political season, and what kind of theological thinking we might be able to bring to the moment. And I'm really glad to be back in the band again.
Yeah, I'm the same. Nothing's changed too much here. I got pulled up here to Sacramento, and then Bonnie and Rajeev left me at Parkside.
I know.
But I'm still working in church ministry, even though I thought I was done for a very long time. I'm not a pastor. I just want to make that clear, put that out in the interwebs. I'm just a church admin. Helps people.
There's no just there.
I help people do what they are gifted to do. For as far as the podcast is concerned, I'm just glad to be back behind the mic and getting ready to have some conversations with you all. I mean, we've all hung out. There hasn't been a falling out, in case anyone's wondering. Like, there was no drama. It was just especially with Rajeev and Bonnie's transitions into a new career field and things getting just busy. It just didn't work out, and life happened, and my kids got older and they're hitting their preteen years, and that's a lot. So I think we're kind of at that place now where we can kind of settle in, move forward. Yeah, I mean, that's really it on my end. I don't have too much to share. I never do, though. So
So some days I feel like I am the sole survivor on Survivor, because all of my dearly beloveds, people that I love and value in ministry, are doing ministry in different settings outside of what we had imagined our work being like together. So I am still the pastor of Loomis UCC. It is going to be 8 years in November, which feels like very long. Ordained 10 in December, which just is amazing that it's been that much time. Last year was probably the hardest year of my life. I don't know why I'm smiling as I say that, but many of you know from the podcast that we have worked to create safe space for queer youth in a very conservative part of Northern California. Someone recently said to me, "Oh, you're on the front lines of this work." I said, "No, baby, we are behind the lines of this work. We are behind the line." And so in our effort to keep queer youth safe and to promote a program that allows for young people to thrive and be the best versions of themselves, there were community people and pastors in our community who were not pleased with our work. And they sent people to secretly record me. They had people follow my husband. They bomb threatened my church and had Proud Boys enter my church and stand outside my home with bullhorns and call for the day of the rope. It has been a long year. So yeah, I mean, glad we're back. Look, that is such a positive note, everybody, but that is the truth of my life. You can attempt to deter us, but you cannot stop us from doing the good work of keeping queer youth safe. And so that is the work that we have been doing. That is the work we will continue to do. And I'm grateful to be back with IRENCAST and just to be with friends.
And to not, and if you want me to cut this out, I will, but to not, quote, end on a dour note. Like, for those of you listening, you probably already know this if you're a regular listener, but Casey is a badass. Despite everything that was thrown at Casey over the last 2 years, he endured for those that needed the work that he provided. And as difficult as it was, and the moments that we talked and hung out during that time, there's no person I've ever known in my life that is as strong and resilient and faithful to the work as Casey is. So you
Hear.
are amazing.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. Thank you. I'm grateful for the community that came around us, right? The people who work to keep us safe, the people who work to keep our kids safe. Like, I had a sabbatical planned, so I had to, I was leaving.
Right.
But there were people who made sure camp happened, made sure that, church happened, and I am grateful for those words. And there were a lot of people who made it it was helpful I could be strong because there were people around me holding us up and making sure we could be safe. Yeah. So.
But you were the one individually targeted.
Yeah.
And that is a huge, huge load to carry. So yeah, I think that it's important to sort of name some of these things because we can speak about them in past tense, but we're living in this moment.
Yeah.
It's not completely over.
It's not.
That's part of what we're hoping to do is, yes, we love to be together. We love to have conversations, but we also know we're living in a moment that unfortunately Casey knows more than anybody.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's what draws me back to what we have done with IRENCAST. For all of you who are listening, we loved hearing from you. We loved the ways in which we were able to connect through virtual intersections, etc. Like for any of you who have ever felt alone in the moment, in the movement,
right? We
get that. We are all sort of coming back to this and realizing we are going to continue to need to rely on one another, right? We have to. And these are the conversations that we should be having with our neighbors, with our friends, with our families. Do you really believe that these people who claim Christianity are the same people who would support this kind of empire? Like the very people who love to talk about scripture are the very people who are making it the least safe for women, people of color, queer people. Like you cannot love Jesus with your mouth and hate with your heart, baby. That is not how this works. And so we, I think, more than ever, must be together and have these conversations, not only for our well-being, but for our safety and sanity.
Yeah, just, Casey, what you and your community have been through is impossible to describe. And there's a moment that I want to share. And again, this will be up to you if it stays in or not. At your church had a Good Friday service. And you invited a lot of people to come that were willing, and you wanted clergy friends to show up in our clergy stuff to be a show of support. The Sacramento Gay Men's Chorus was there. You had a number of youth speak, queer youth from your program, and church speak. And the way you held it all was just a powerful example of the ministry that you have brought forth in that community and empowered people to be who they are, to speak out and transform many lives. And, California is not a progressive utopia in a universal sense.
Right. Yeah.
No.
We're a mixed bag, and we know some of you that listen to our IRENCAST are in places where the danger is very real. If you are a queer identified person, it's everywhere. Casey, you use the word movement. We're not at any destination yet.
That's right.
It's requires a lot of consistent, persistent moving to get to a place that's safe for all people.
Right. That's right. That was, Good Friday was one of my proudest moments, I think, in ministry, because after a year of feeling like I had done a lot of losing people, I've lost a lot of people I love who've left our church, right? For a variety of reasons. We have been thrown out of the schools for no reason really at all, other than political agenda, which has led to 3 kids in 3 months committing suicide. We have not lost any kids in 5 years. And so to be in that space with you all and to use the candle that we used at one of those funerals to be the candle to light all the other candles meant the world to me. And to say, this work is not done. It is a uphill battle to achieve what we hope to achieve here, right? But to see you all there and to be there with you was really profound and very powerful. I think not just for me, but for the Gay Men's Chorus, for the queer youth, right? Who so often have a different perspective on how clergy are to be in the world and how they, their perspective on clergy. So it was really beautiful. Yeah. I think my favorite thing was when I got up there and said, this might be the gayest thing that Loomis has ever seen. And it was great. The roar was great.
That was a great moment. Again, if it has a place, great. But there was a moment where your music leader, who's phenomenal, moved into some old church songs that are really beautiful and soothing.
Yeah.
And to see many of the members of the Gay Men's Chorus who later, after service and chatting with them, said they hadn't been in church in forever, were weeping and singing along like it's safe to sing this here.
Safe to sing it here, baby.
Because I'm not singing contributing to something that hates me.
That's right.
I'm singing and contributing to something that sees me and loves all of me. And that too was another moment that was just like, yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
That's actually a nice way to think about how we're moving forward, I think, with IRENCAST, is it's okay to sing what you need to sing in the spaces that you need to sing them.
That's right.
And by being together around this table with microphones in hand, we really hope that we can join the songs that are already in place, that are already rising, and that we might have a few notes of our own to offer. Because if there's anything that we've, learned, and certainly Casey knows this best, it's that we're entering a time when courage is going to have to be fast and strong, or we will all break apart. That's just the reality. So we're here to give courage, to get courage, to hold courage, to support one another, and I'm just excited to be in the mix of that.
Yeah, absolutely,
for sure. And just on the practical side of what that looks like for us going forward is we're not 100% sure right now, but we did want to make sure we recorded kind of a hey, we're back moment and let people know, stay subscribed, stay tuned. We were likely not going to have as robust of a social media presence just for time and effort. We're going to narrow it down to one that we use the most. I'm not sure, like email. We do want to have connection with our listeners, but we're trying to figure out the best way to do that for us that's not going to lead to any kind of burnout. I mean, we were going twice a month for 100 episodes, and before that we were doing once a week for 100 episodes, and keeping up the website and doing all that stuff. It's just not feasible for us at this point in time. So we're not going to have a regular release schedule. We know that we'll likely have our first episode back sometime in early fall, but we're going to sit down after we record this and plan what that first conversation is going to be like. We might have some short mini episodes in there from time to time. We're going to keep it, keep the same format for our regular episodes, but we might throw some extra stuff here and there and, release when we can. But we want to join the conversation because there's going to be a lot of conversations that are going to be happening. And hopefully those conversations, like Bonnie was just saying, encourage you wherever you're at to act, to have courage, and to do what you need to do. And we feel like we've spent 5 years building this platform, this audience. And although we've been gone for a while, we're still seeing people listen and reach out and downloads happen. And we just feel honored by that, first of all, that our words mean that much.
Shocked and honored.
Exactly. But also responsible is, people have grown attached to us on a certain level. Having more conversations and being able to provide encouragement for others is a big part of the reason we did this, because we all came from spaces where there were no voices for us to tell us what to do and how to move forward and what deconstruction was, and it was okay to have faith or not okay to have faith or whatever. And we want to continue to do that because from all of our experiences, that hasn't slowed down. People are still leaving. People are still confused. People are still surprised that they can maintain some sort of spirituality and be progressive within the Christian umbrella. Some things won't change, other things will, but we're back. We wanted to let you know that. And yeah, reach out to us in whatever ways you can right now. Forgive us if we don't get a hold of you right away, but know that we'll eventually see it, and we'll have more information as we kind of lay out these episodes on how we can stay connected with y'all. So, yeah, I think that's our. Anything else anyone want to throw in there?
Does anyone have a dad joke?
You would be the only one who has a dad
That's
joke.
true. I had an epiphany about dad jokes. I guess this will be a mini segment, but I realized that for the longest time I hated dad jokes, and I still hate them. I don't think they're funny, and I don't understand why people think they're funny, but I discovered that I love them because I get a rush from annoying my children.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something about when I get that eye roll that is just like crack cocaine.
Yep, totally.
The joke is horrible. I agree with them, but the antagonist in me is just like, this is wonderful. I need to keep doing it. So,
well, and the joy is they've reached an age where they also get a rush of rolling their eyes at you.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
they
So
live for
it's a
slamming
symbiotic
doors
relationship.
and rolling their eyes at you.
Well, everybody in my class gets a chance to tell a dad joke. And once everybody's told one, like, not all at the same time, we start over again. And so they're just so bad and so good all at the same time. And it's fun to get to roll your eyes at a kid who's telling a dad joke and groan at them and just, be really playful with it. But
true. Oh, there's nothing better than using current slang in a wrong way. Oh, man. That's
Skibbity.
the best. Skibbity toilet Riz.
Skibbity
oh
toilet.
my gosh, it's the best.
Riz-tastic.
Riz-tastic. Yeah.
All right, on that note, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to all of you joining us as we continue molding what this is going to look like going forward. So peace be with you, and thanks for joining the conversation.